What's up with it, man? Polo Sports Talk and Entertainment. Back at y'all. First thing in the morning, you know how I get down. Rise and grind. All of that. All right, so everybody is in the uproar in terms of Errol Spence. You know, I want to give a shout out to several guys within the LDBC that have really been covering this. Okay, and some of them have kind of the similar perspective, and some of them have a whole different outlook on the thing. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, they still are covering it, and I still give them guys a salute. Um, I want to give a shout out to Blue Blood Sports, Blue Blood Boxing. I'm sorry about that. Blue Blood Boxing. Um, I want to also give a shout out to 78 Sports. I want to give a shout out to Monty Brown TV. I want to give a shout out to Everything Boxing and Sports. I also want to give a shout out to Ticket TV too. Okay. Oh, and also Town Biz, Town Biz Sports and Entertainment too. Salute to those guys for repping the LDBC. Now, look, Earl Spence, man, is making actually, I think the smart decision, but it's really y'all got to realize, man, that it's not all in his control per se. You know, um, Earl Spence had a, a lot of people don't understand that Earl Spence has not fought in, I mean, since 2019. Okay, and that's when he first came out, came back from the devastating car crash, which I don't think anybody would have suspected that he would have walked out of that thing alive. But the thing about it is that I don't think people understand Earl Spence's mentality. You know, Monty Brown said something very, very key yesterday. And I think that this right here is going to it's going to tell it all when he does fight uh, Ugas. Now, hold on. Before I say that, let me say something about Ugas. Okay, y'all guys act like this guy cannot fight or he's some sort of sleepover or something. Man, no. Ugas he's a champion. He's a champion, and then on top of that, you know, think about it. Think about what's at stakes here. They're doing a three belt unification bout. That's huge. Some people might not. Some people might not think that that's huge, but that's huge. Okay, is he undisputed like Terrence Crawford? No, but you'll be surprised. A lot of people still have Earl Spence as the number one guy at 147 in the welterweight division. And then there's some people that have Terrence Crawford, and it further went through the roof since Crawford defeated Porter. But Earl Spence, believe you me, he wants to fight Terrence Crawford. Okay, that is the plan. People are anxious and they just want, okay, yeah, that next fight should be this, next fight should be that. Look, I want it. I want to see it too. But these fighters have to be at their best. they have to be at their best. You know what I'm saying? In order to give the people really what they want, and more importantly, to get what they want, which is really, besides the belts, is for bragging rights too, because that's been the talk for a little over a decade. Who's the best in the welterweight division? Yeah, at one point, people saw, prominence in Thurman once upon a time. You know what I'm saying? Then at one point in time, when Pacquiao was in there for for a little bit, you know what I'm saying? They thought that he had a chance, and then of course, uh, Terrence Crawford. But the thing about Terrence Crawford is, people were talking about his resume. You know, uh, people were talking about both Garcias. You know what I'm saying? And then of course, Earl Spence. And I'm talking about prior to Earl Spence's success in the welterweight division. People have to stop with this. Oh yeah, well, man, he should just go ahead. Look, his mentality is to jump in the ocean. But I have no doubt in my mind that there are people, really, telling him, okay, hey, look, let's just slow it down a little bit. Let's just go ahead and take this. Listen. He wants Terrence Crawford. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, everybody act like Earl Spence is running. No, not. But we have to look at negotiation, and we have to look at deals, and we also have to look at the sport of boxing. You know what I'm saying? Right now, believe it or not, just as much as Canelo controls the chessboard and controls all the pieces in terms of okay, what he can dictate, sort of like what Mayweather used to do back in the day. Errol Spence, whether you like it or not, has that type of control. Even if he hasn't fought that much within the past 2 years, we know the situation. But you got to give that man credit for coming out of an accident like that, and then going ahead and jumping right back in there. You know what that shows? That shows heart, and that shows grit, and that shows um, lack of fear, which he doesn't. He doesn't have that. You know what I'm saying? And if he does have it, he's hiding it very well. But people have to understand, man, that it is a process. It's just like, okay, I had some time to think about what people were saying about Thurman. Because Thurman wants to tune up before automatically fighting, Crawford and everything. And so I had to look at that. I was like, man, what are you doing? No, 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 just jump right back in there. But I also had to realize, okay, this guy has been away for two plus years. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, you could train and you could spar and everything, but that's not the same. That's not the same, especially when it's for all the it's for the title, it's for the belt, or it actually goes in the W or L column. So I don't understand why people are in an uproar with Earl Spence for fighting for getting ready to fight this unification bout. It makes absolutely no sense. Look, uh, look at it like this. At least he's fighting, But I think that people, okay, well, they saw Terrence Crawford. He went ahead and he fought, Sean Porter and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Sean Porter. Look, I know Sean Porter lost that fight and everything, and they stopped. Kenny Porter had stopped the fight and everything, but Sean Porter, as I've said before, win, loss, or draw, he's fought them all, right? And he wasn't he wasn't anybody to where you could be like, that's just Sean Porter or something like that. Nah, because it was one of those situations where if you did happen to fight Sean Porter, hey, you kind of you had to be on your toes, so, and you had to be on point. Like with Earl Spence, it took him it took him later in the fight to get the knockdown with with Porter. Damn near to the end of the fight. And see, that's another thing too. People automatically assume that just because Crawford did Porter one way or laid him out and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying? And Earl Spence, it took him longer, and he didn't do it quite like Terrence Crawford did. Every fight is different. Every scenario and situation is different. And then also you must realize that whether people want to believe it or not, Sean Porter wasn't at his best. He wasn't at his best. He was not at his best. He was 1 foot in and 1 foot out. He did not listen to Kenny like he was supposed to, and it ended up working against him in the end. Yeah, so everybody got to stop being mad at ESJ. You know, he's what defines a fighter with with the unmatched will. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, uh, you can put him in there. You know that his work ethic, man, is something like crazy. Like, and that's why like you have to go and you have to go listen to these interviews with Blu-ray. Shout out to Blu-ray too. Um, go look at that interview with Blu-ray. Monty Brown and Everything Boxing has interviewed Blu-ray. 78 Sports just yesterday was on live with Blu-ray. Look, man, Earl don't need to do all that talking, all that stuff on social media, stuff like that, man. He doesn't need to do any of that stuff. It's much like Canelo. Do you see Canelo, you know, sitting there, speaking in Spanish, talking with a translator, telling people to come on and stuff like that? No. You know why? Because he's too busy in the gym. He's too busy working. He's too busy getting everything, in preparation. That's why, like, I laugh at guys that be like, "Oh yeah, well, when he goes to cruiserweight, he's not gonna be successful." Listen, what have you heard from Canelo besides him getting in the ring and him actually succeeding and and him winning the belt and him becoming undisputed, right? No, but you want Canelo to be something like everybody else is. You want Canelo to you know running his mouth and stuff like that. That's not how he gets down. He doesn't need to do any of that stuff. He gonna quietly go in there, be the silent assassin that he is, and he pretty much is gonna lay your ass to sleep. And if he doesn't lay your ass to sleep, then he pretty much is gonna whoop your ass. In terms of a boxing, from a boxing standpoint. People got to stop. People got to stop with this. Oh yeah, well, he should fight. Terrence Crawford and all this other stuff. Acting like it's so easy to put that thing together, man. That's gonna be a difficult. I mean, it's not gonna be as difficult as it was when, of course, Terrence Crawford was with um, Bob Arum's old grimy ass, but it's still gonna be, you know, very, very hard to negotiate. But I really feel they're gonna make it happen. I know that they are. This right here is an all-out money grab, and everybody wants hands on it. You know what I'm saying? All the fighters, all the promoters, they want in on this fight because one can argue that this is gonna be this might be the fight. Nah, I won't go that far. I can't say that far. I was gonna say it's gonna be the fight of the decade, but I have to think. I have to think long and hard about that one. But this will be the fight if they get this negotiating and then this happens and everything. This will be, I would say, in the last 5 years, this will be the most heavily anticipated, besides the Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fight. And I'm just being honest when I say that. I mean, if we're being honest from a standpoint of people on the edge of their seat, they're waiting for a fight, and they have been for so long, and they've been waiting for it. I think people been waiting for it for what 10 years. You gotta come to the conclusion that, hey, this is a big deal, and everybody thinks that they're like, okay, well, it's Terrence Crawford. He only had now. Look, people can't even make up their mind now. Look, now okay, yeah, you fought Sean Porter, but he wasn't at his best. Look, give the man his just due. Give the man his just due. Give the man his just due. Listen, Terrence Crawford, had he lost, oh, they would have been all on him. But the fact that he won, it speaks volume. Give the man his just due. Hold on for a second. Yeah, people gotta stop with, you know, oh yeah, well, he fought Sean Porter, but he ended up knocking him out. Sean Porter, he wasn't this, he wasn't that. No, look, he stepped in the ring, he made that decision. And Sean Porter did. You know how Sean Porter is, man. He was taking some jabs throughout the whole entire process. He was taking little small jabs. He was really trying to get under the skin, much like what he usually does to opponents. But man, get the man his just due. Terrence Crawford went in there. He was a man on a mission, and you got to give him his credit, man. You have to. But that's just people. This society is, oh, what have you done for me lately? You know, and their lately is like, okay, the very next day lately. It's not okay. Yeah, what have you done for me in the past year, or what have you done for me in the past, you know, uh, couple months or something like that. You know what I'm saying? People have a short term memory. Especially how fast society's moving. But look, that's just like with Earl Spence. People and then people talking about these guys' age and all that. Look, we know that the clock is ticking for both of these fighters. We know that. But it's not like it's not like they've done an extreme amount of wear and tear on their body. So from that standpoint, right? If Okay, look at Pacquiao. He fought well into his 40s, was in phenomenal shape. You know what I'm saying? Could move good, was fast and everything. Regardless of the losses, he still moved pretty good. You know, and then he ran into Ugas or whatever, and then he met his match. We're not listen. Who's to say that that's going to happen to a Terrence Crawford or to a or Earl Smith, especially when they haven't been, neither one of them have been knocked out. And this is another thing. Um, Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford haven't had that much, like, they haven't received that much punishment. So that's my whole thing about that in the age. It's just like with Mayweather, people were tripping on the fact that Mayweather was able to get in there when he's older and everything like that. It's because he didn't do a lot of, he took really good care of his body and didn't receive a lot of punishment later, especially at the late stages of his career. He fought a smarter fight. So y'all let me know what you think, man. I apologize about that. Um, do you think that your Errol Spence should be demonized, for what he's doing right now? Because I really personally don't feel like everybody should be upset at him, for real. That's just my personal opinion. But y'all let me know what you think, man. Polo Sports Talking and Entertainment, man. I'll get at y'all later.